Hi guys, Amanda here on Tuesday on Bookish Days, and this week we are talking about our favorite villains. Now, I'm a big fan of the horror genre. Cats eating plastic. um, anyway, I'm a big fan of the horror genre, so I love a good villain. And what makes a good villain is diabolicalness, like planning and scheming and just like tricking people, and also just like ruthlessness where they do not care. They're going to get what they want and they don't care who they walk over to do it, or just plain creepy, like scary and creepy. That makes a great villain too. So I've picked out quite a few books, so I'm just gonna go over them quickly. The first two I picked out um, are my YA selections, and they are similar bad guys, but they're also extremely stand out to me. In all the books I've read, these two in particular really stand out for the villain. And the first one is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I just finished this last night, so it is fresh in my mind, but Naughty John is fantastic. I really love like occulty stuff, and the way the different occult symbolisms and like ceremonial magic type things are worked into Naughty John and his kind of history and how he works as a villain is really well done, and it's really interesting. So I think that Naughty John is my favorite ghost villain. And then to go along with that, I have Bonesaw from Velveteen by Danny Marks. Bonesaw is alive, but he's being haunted by a ghost. He's a serial killer, but I think what makes Bonesaw so memorable is the writing, how he's written, the descriptions of what he does. They're really well done because they're not overly graphic, but they still are extremely chilling. It's very well written serial killer for a YA audience. I thought the balance is really great. Um, and then I wanted to mention, in a kid's book kind of, I wanted to mention Harry Potter, but in particular, I'm not going to mention Voldemort, even though I think he's a fantastic villain. I'm going to mention Professor Umbridge, because I just want to punch that lady in the face. I can't even call her a lady. She's a bitch. I hate her. Straight hate her. She's evil. Like Voldemort, at least I can kind of understand. I'm like, alright, you're evil, you want to kill Harry, but I get why you want to do it. I understand what your purpose is. You know, you want to take over the world. What is Umbridge's deal? What is she hoping to obtain? Like, she's just mean to be mean. And she's those freaking cats. Like, I love cats, but not like that. Goodness. Ugh. I really don't like Umbridge, and I kind of wish the centaurs had killed her. Pretty much the only person I wish dead in the whole of Harry Potter series. She could have died. Moving on. I wanted to mention my favorite villain from Shakespeare, and that's in Othello. Iago is fantastic because he is so evil. God, he's like the master manipulator, and he just ruins everything for everyone. And over what? He didn't get a promotion. He didn't get a promotion, so he decides to destroy everybody's lives. That just it doesn't seem balanced to me. It's like, why don't you just like wait a year and then apply again? It's not like you can't still get a promotion, and you guys are in war. Maybe what's his name, Cassius or whatever, whoever got the promotion instead. Maybe he'll get killed in battle and you'll get to take his place, you know? Just keep trucking. It's disproportionate. Um, I wanted to mention my favorite mystery, and then there were none by Agatha Christie. And now I won't give the ending away. I won't give away who the villain is. But it's not so much the villain that's great. It's the who is the villain, and how that's built up and how it's thought of. That's what makes this so fantastic. Because it's like, who is the murderer? Who is the killer? We don't know. And it's like misdirections and red herrings all over the place, and you never know who it is until the very end. And I remember reading this when I was like 12 and just being like, when I found out like the ending, because I had no idea. I was completely wrong up to the very end. I had no idea. And so this is definitely one of the best crafted mysteries I've ever read. This book is fantastic. Um, and then, I mean, I don't think we can really talk about villains without talking about the multiple villainous characters that are present in George R. R. Martin's Game of Thrones series. I mean, how many villains do we have? Joffrey Baratheon, probably the biggest, like, little bitch of the series. I mean, Cersei Lannister, Jaime Lannister, they're really villainous, especially at the beginning of this book. Um, Even Robert Baratheon, Stannis Baratheon, like everyone's a villain, really. Even people like Cat Stark aren't perfect. Um, but the whole series is great, and what's so great about this series is people whom you start off really disliking, a lot of times will kind of redeem themselves by the third or fourth book, and then people who start off thinking these are the good characters have had some really bad things happen to them, but it's because of their own actions. And so you kind of see they're not that great of a character in terms of morality and goodness. So I feel like the Game of Thrones series is great for multi-dimensional characters, sympathetic villains, and villainous heroes. So I really recommend these series. I mean, they're thick, but they're great. Um, and then I also wanted to mention, I don't have a copy of the book, but I wanted to mention Annie Wilkes from Stephen King's Misery. Probably the best book to movie adaptation I've ever seen, both in terms of an awesome book and an awesome movie. Annie Wilkes is a great character in the book. She is terrifying. And I think that Kathy Bates is absolutely phenomenal in the movie. And I've mentioned this before, I think, on my personal channel. But you guys, if you haven't read Misery and if you haven't seen the movie, just do it. See, do both. They're both really, really, really good. And Annie Wilkes is what makes them so great, both in how she's written in the book and how she's portrayed by Kathy Bates in the movie. And then the final one I wanted to mention, mostly due to recent events, and that's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I wanted to mention George Wickham, uh, for pretty much the douchiest bad guy. And for those of you who haven't heard of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, this is a modern adaptation web series on YouTube going on right now, headed up by Hank Green and written by Bernie Stu. And the way they interpret George Wickham in the Lizzie Bennet Diaries is, in my opinion, it's brilliant. I think it fits the not only this modern times, but also his character and Lydia's character very, very well. Um, and so I just wanted to mention this, so you guys should really go check out that channel, and also you should watch the Lydia Bennet, and Pemberley Digital also has a spin-off channel, and there's also one for Collins and Collins. I recommend all of those channels because they're great, and they really do a good job of adapting that classic, and uh, all the characters are just fantastic in the series. So I highly recommend checking that out, and especially from this past week, because OMG, guys, dramas with a Z. So those are my favorite villains. What are your guys' favorite? Post in the comments down below, and let me know uh, some of your favorite bad guys from the books you've read. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.